Hello everyone, welcome you all to the series of MATLAB tutorial. Here we are talking about MATLAB loops. We have covered for loop as well as while loop in the last session. Now time for the MATLAB break statements in the loop. Now we will begin by quick recap on the MATLAB loops. Then we will learn break statement flow diagram, then why break statement syntax, and finally, as usual for your better understanding, I'm gonna keep this session mixed with the theory part along with the live demonstration of the MATLAB scripting examples. Let's start. There may be a situation when you need to execute a block of code several number of times. In general, statements are executed sequentially. The first statement in a function is executed first, followed by the second, followed by the third, and so on. Programming languages provides various control structures that allows for more complicated execution paths. A loop statement allows us to execute a statement or a group of statements multiple times, and here is the general form of the loop statement in a MATLAB. Now your code is executing and it's reached to the specific condition. Now it checks for the condition, and once the condition is true, then it executes the statement or the conditional code which is written just next line or the next to this condition. And again it checks for the condition, and if again the condition is true, the loop continuously runs. But as soon as the condition reaches to the end value of the index or false, then it exits the loop. And this is how generally the MATLAB loops works. MATLAB break statement. The break statement terminates execution of a for or a while loop in a MATLAB. Statements in the loop that appears after the break statement are not executed. In nested loops, break exits only from the loop in which it occurs. If there are two loops are nested to each other, and if we are writing the break statement in inner loop, then the inner loop will get terminated or exited, but the outer loop will get executed. So in nested loops, break exits only from the loop in which it occurs. Control passes to the statement following the end of that loop. Now let's look for the flow diagram for the break statement and how it works. Programming languages provide various control structures that allow for more complicated execution paths. There may be a situation when you need to execute a block of code several number of times, but it may sometimes needed to exit the loop before the loop reaches its final index value, and that's possible with the break statement. So here it started. We are executing the statement or the condition code considering the condition is met. And again, we are checking the condition is true. So that is why it is continuously looping here and it is executing that statement or the conditional code just written to the next line of the condition when it is made true. So it is continuous loop. But if the condition is false, then it exits the loop and terminates the program. But there is another way to exit the while loop or the for loop in a MATLAB, and that is called use of the break statement. If we use the break statement after with a specific condition or checking the specific value of the variable in the loop, then once that condition is met and the break statement get executed, after that your loop, that is a for loop or the while loop, get terminated and it reaches or exit that loop. And this is how the break statement flow diagram works. So when a break statement is encountered, the loops stops immediately and control passes to the statement following the end of that loop. So either it terminates the program or it reaches to the end of the loop. And this is how it works. But the question is, why break statement? Using a break statement in a MATLAB offers several advantages, and it can be very useful for several reasons. Here are some key reasons to use for MATLAB break statement in a MATLAB loops. And the first is exit loop early. It allows you to exit a loop before the loop condition is false. This can be useful when you have found what you are looking for or when a certain condition is met. Efficiency. It can improve the efficiency of your code by preventing unnecessarily iterations once the desired condition is met. Precise control flow. It provides a way to control the flow of your program more precisely. For example, if you are searching for a specific value in a data set, you can stop the loop once the value is found. Fourth is nested loops. In nested loops, break can be used to exit only the innermost loop, giving you finer control over the complex looping structures. And the last is efficient error handling. It can be used to exit a loop when an error or unexpected condition is encountered, allowing your program to handle the situation gracefully. These are the key reasons which leads toward the use of the break statement in a MATLAB. Now looking for the break statement syntax, it's very simple. You just have to use the keyword break, but let's look how we are using the break statement in the for loop as well as in the while loop. So we will start with the for loop. We have seen how the for loop works, what is the syntax for the for loop, but we are again checking here as the break statement is explicitly used in the for loop and the while loop, that is in the MATLAB loops. So basic syntax for this break statement with a for loop is it start with the for keyword and we are writing the index, that is defining the variable with the start value and the end value. And then we are writing the code to execute. After that, if you check any condition, specific condition and use the break is a keyword, that is break with a semicolon. That's the simple syntax works for the break statement. And it actually terminates the loop using the break statement in a MATLAB or in a program. And after that, we have to end your for loop. So this is how we can say the syntax of the break statement works in the for loop. And here we know that the index is basically the loop control variable where we define the values. Start value is the initial value of the index, and the break is the keyword or the command used to terminate the loop or exit the loop. And in the nested form, wherever we are using this break statement, that loop only get terminated. So if we are using this break statement in an inner loop, the inner loop will get terminated. If you are using the break statement in the outer loop will get terminated. And at the end, this end value is basically the maximum value for the index. The loop will run until this value is reached. And the end, END, is the keyword shown here in the blue color is basically the end of the for loop. And this is how the break statement works in the for loop. Statement in the while loop. Again, the same syntax which are used for the while loop is we are starting with the while keyword and putting the condition. And then we write the statement to execute or the code to execute after this while condition is met. And then you need to write this break statement here. Because if you want to terminate after reaching certain conditions, then BREAK is the simple keyword used with a semicolon. It terminates the loop using this statement. And at the end, we have to end the while loop as well. Otherwise, it will show the syntax error. And while is the keyword we are marking and starting with that loop. And condition is the loop runs as long as the condition is true. Statements basically the code inside the loop that you want to execute repeatedly. And break is the keyword are used to terminate the loop or exit the loop. And end is again the serving the same purpose to end of the loop. It's a keyword marks the end of the loop. But before that, though the while loop condition is true, if we are writing any specific condition before using the break statement, and once that condition is made, the break statement get executed irrespective of either the while condition is true or false. And this is the beauty of the break statement to use in your programming. Now time to learn some examples of the break statement along with the loop, that is the for loop as well as the while loop in a MATLAB to help you understand better their functionality. So let's jump to the MATLAB. Now let us see how to use this break statement within a for loop. I already have created a program to save your time. Let me open the program. Here is the M script I already created. I'm gonna open this. Now the program is open. Here are two simple examples of using the break statement within a for loop in a MATLAB. And the first example is just breaking the loop after a certain number of iterations. And the second example is just to find the first number greater than the specific number in an array. So let's go one by one. The first example here is this example prints the number from the 1 to 10, but it stops after the 5 iterations. And that is what this is, a breaking up loop after a certain number of iteration. Okay, so here as usual, I'm starting with the for is a keyword, and this is index, and this is the first value, and this is the last value of this I indexing. Here I am printing um, how many times this loop is starting, that is the iteration, and why the percentage d, because it will take the decimal value for that, and I'm printing the I. So initially it would be 1, then subsequently it will go to 2, 3. Here the step size is not defined, so by default it will get incremented from 1 to 10. And here I'm checking the condition if I is equal to 5. Once it will reach to 5, I gonna use the break statement. I will print some line here to show that we have reached to the iteration of 5 and I want to break the loop. So breaking the loop, and then I use this break keyword. That is a break statement. As soon as it will reach, it will end this for loop. It will not go for the 6, 7, and 8. Though this for loop is not reached to the last indexing value, once it reached to the break statement, it exit the loop. Now let's see. I'm gonna run this program. I will use Control and Enter from the keyboard, and you see the result here. Iteration 1. First time this is printed, okay, but this condition is not true, so it is not entered here, even not this break statement executed. So this if is skipped, and again it came here. For the next iteration, the I reached to the 2, so that is the reason iteration 2 is printed, 3, 4, 5. And as soon as the I is equal to 5, it enters here, and you get the message from the printf, that is iteration 5 reached iteration 5 and breaking the loop. As soon as this break statement is executed, it exits the loop. And so we have not reached for the 6, 7, and 8. Now if I change this value, let's say I reach to the 8 and I want to show the message for the 8, then it will go to the 8. Let me clear the screen from the command window and now run this section. Control Enter, and now you see here iteration 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It is reached to the 8, and then it breaks the loop. This is how the simple use breaking a loop after certain number of iterations, that is after certain condition I'm checking, and I'm breaking the loop. And it breaks the loop means from the for loop it exit and terminate the program. So this is how the break statement works, and this is simple examples. The second example is here is a breaking a loop when condition is met, and in this example basically find the first number greater than the 5 in the array. So here I have created an array, okay, and what it checks the first number in this array which is greater than the 5. And that's the simple logic I have written here, starting with the for loop and indexing starting with the 1, and the last value is the size of this and the number, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it will go for the 5, and here I'm checking the number of that array with the indexing. I'm moving the indexing, that starting with 1, so it will check 1, then 2, that means 3 value. For the third index it will check fifth value, so that way it will check. And if this condition is true, then it will print this message. And as soon as printing this message, I'm using this break statement. So it will break this loop. Not only this if, it will also break this for loop and exit the program. So what will happen? At the first instant, the value will be checked as 1. 1 is greater than 5? No, then it will not enter here. This if will get skipped. It will not. It will come here. Then the 1 will get incremented automatically because of this indexing method. That's automatic increment indexing method. It will go to the 2. So number of 2 means the second place value of the number array is a 3. 3 is greater than 5? No, again, this condition is false, so it will not enter here. For the third indexing, the number of 3 is a 5. 5 is greater than 5? No, it's 5 is not greater than 5. 5 is equal to 5. So again, this condition is false. For the seventh, it will reach, that means for the fourth indexing, when if we'll check with the 7 greater than 5, yes, condition is met, then it will print this value and it will print that number as well. And the number is taken from the same indexing. So number of 4 is a 7 basically. Number of fourth index is a 7. So 7 will be printed and you will get the message. The first number in this array greater than 5 is blah, 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 and that is a 7. So let's run this code and see. And as soon as it will reach this condition, it gonna execute this break statement. For the next iteration, though the 9 is greater than 5, it will not come again because it is exiting the for loop. Let's run this and see how it works. So I'm gonna clear the command window first, and then I'm gonna run this section. This section is selected, that is what it is highlighted, blue here, light blue, sky blue. So I'm gonna enter this using the keyword control enter, and you see here the first greater number than 5 is a 7. So it reached here and it checked the first greater number in this array greater than 5, first number is a 7 in this array. Okay, now what I will do, I'll do like this. I will write here 8. Then let's check what happens. So I'm gonna clear this section and the answer should be 8 actually. So enter. Yes, the answer is 8. The first number greater than 5 is 8. Though 7 is greater than 5, the 9 is greater than 5, it is not reached to that value because condition is met here and the break statement got executed. And once the break statement got executed or executes, it breaks or it exits the entire loop where it is executing. So actually it comes out of this for loop. And though the for loop is not reached to the last indexing value, for loop gets terminated because of this break statement. So these examples illustrate how the break statement can be used to exit a for loop when a certain condition is met, making your code more reliable, more efficient, and easier to manage. So earlier we have seen break statement usage in the for loop. Now time to look for the break statement usage in the while loop. And as usual, I already have created the program in the script. Let me open the script and I'm gonna run the section wise each sections. That is the program which I created. I have created here the two programs for your understanding. So here are the two examples, simple examples of using the break statement within while loop in a MATLAB. And the first example, in this example, the loop runs indefinitely until the count variable reaches to the 5, and at which the point break the statement exit the loop. So breaking on a condition is the first example. And the condition I put here is the variable, as soon as the variable reaches to 5, it should break this counting as well as should come out from the while loop. So let me run this section, very simple program. We have seen the while, how to use the while, what is the syntaxing. And here I just use this if checking the count reaching to the 5. And once it reaches to the greater than equal to 5, I'm breaking the loop. So not only if it will be break, again, it will terminate the while loop and come out of that. And here I'm just incrementing that count for the next iteration. So let's run this section. I'm gonna run using the control and enter key. So you see in the first iteration, the count was 1. So it displayed the count is 1. This condition is not true, so it will not enter here. It will come here and then it will increment the count 1 plus 1. Earlier the value was 1. So for the next execution, the value will be 2. So once it will come here, while loop is continuously true. So count is, now the count reached to the 2. Again, it will check for this condition. 2 is greater than equal to 5. Answer is no. That means this is a false. It will not enter here. It will jump here and it will increment. Then it will go 3. Subsequently, it will reach to the 5 till the 5 reaches. Again, the 5 is greater than equal to 5. Yes, that means it will enter here. But before that, it reached to the 5. That is what this message was displayed over there. And as soon as it reached there, you got the message count is 5. And after that, you will not get this while loop getting executed because condition is met, break statement got executed, and because of this execution of this break statement, this while loop is terminated or the while loop is exited. So this is the simple example on breaking on the condition. You can change the condition, you can go to even go to the 10 or something, or let's say 13 something, and run this. Let me clear this command window, and I'm gonna run this, control enter, it will reach to the 13. So anyhow, you can cut this message. You can put that message here also before. Yeah, and then if I run this section, then it will reach to 12. All right, because I am displaying after and before I'm checking the condition. But earlier the count was got incremented and then the condition was checked. But now initially the condition was checked and then the count was get incremented, and meanwhile the message was displayed. So that is the reason here I'm getting the count till 12, and earlier the on the same condition the count was reaching to the 13. Now the another example is on the breaking on user input. Okay. Again, this is very simple example to understand how we are using the break statement in a while loop. And here the loop continues to prompt the user for input until a negative number is entered and triggering the break statement. Okay, so here while true, that means it will be continuously on. Once you will enter here, you are checking input, enter the number negative to quit. Once you enter the negative value, then this condition will be true, and then the break statement will get executed and the while will get terminated. So let's run this section and see how it works. Before running, let me clear this screen. Okay, now I have selected this section, clicked here somewhere, and this section is already selected. If you see this section is white, but here this section is blue, that means the right section is selected from the program which we want to run. And let's run this section now. So I'm using control enter. Now enter the negative number. If I enter the positive number, let's say 2, no. So you have entered 2. The loop is running. It is asking you, let's say I write 5 and no. Let's write 0, no. Because again, it is not going into this condition because the value I entered is a positive number. Now I'm gonna write the negative value. So let me write minus, let's say 2. And then the while loop is exited and you got the control. Here you can have the control, the variables are stored in the workspace. So earlier that was not allowed. So this is how very simple examples how you can use break statement in a while loop. So these examples illustrate how the break statement can be used to exit a while loop when a certain condition is met, making your code more efficient and easier to manage. After watching this video, I'm sure that you understood what the break statement in MATLAB and how it works with the for loop as well as with the while loop. If you really like this session, then please give this video a thumbs up. To watch more videos like this one, please consider subscribing. Once you hit the subscribe button, you're gonna get the notification anytime new contents like that comes out. And lastly, if you have any queries on this topic you wanna answer me, leave me the comments below. I read them all. That's all I have for you today. Hope you enjoyed and hope to see you next time. Bye bye.